guy. Troy Aikman doesn't believe this would be the best course of action, saying, quote, "I'd be really surprised if he's playing under the franchise tag again this year. My guess is if he is, that will be the last we see of Dak Prescott." So, Shannon, do you think they'll get a deal done soon here?
Nope. I hate to disagree with my teammate, Troy Aikman, not only here at Fox, but also in the Hall of Fame, Skip. But Troy said he was surprised they didn't have a deal last year or 2 years ago done with Dak. So I'm just trying to figure out what has changed between 2 years ago and right now. If you don't know what Dak is after 5 years, the Rams will say, you know what? We can't get it done with Jared Goff. We're moving on. The Eagles seem to have said after 5 years, we don't know. We've got it figured out. Wentz is not the answer. We're going to move on. But it's only the Cowboys. I think we might need to see one more year to be certain, one way or another, that Dak is or isn't our guy. You don't believe, just let the man go. That's all you got to do. Why do you keep franchising him? If you don't believe in him, you don't believe in him long term. Because it seems to me that you're like, well, see, that's why we didn't. Look what they did with Winston. Look what they did with Goff. Okay, fine. But Dak is looking at it like, look at the other guys that you gave big money to and tell me they performed up to those contracts since you've given them that money. Now you want to hard time me. So for me, Skip, I disagree with Troy. I don't believe it's going to get done. My only thing is that if you are so uncertain, you don't believe Dak is the guy, because if you believed he was the guy, you was committed. That's why the Rams believed Goff was the guy. They committed. The Eagles believe Wentz was the guy. They committed. Normally, when teams believe you're the guy, they commit. When you keep franchising a guy, you're betting against the guy. We saw that with Cousins, and eventually they said, you know what, we're going. When you start seeing it done with the quarterback, Skip, I don't believe they believe in Dak. I'm almost certain they don't. They just need to move on. If you don't think he's worth what he's asking for, let him test the market and then bring you back what he's gotten. And then you can say, nah, that's too much. Go ahead and take it. Or you can match it. But just let him go. Stop franchising him.
But, I mean, if you let him go, then he's unrestricted. So you don't have the right to match him.
You can, yeah. He can come back and say, you know what? What's your best offer? Okay, they're offering me this. What's your best offer? And then he might be willing to take a pay cut to stay in Dallas. But at least give him that option. You keep franchising him, but you don't believe in him.
Okay, so back to Troy Aikman's quote here. I'd be really surprised if he's playing under the franchise tag again this year. Man, I'm more with you. I'd be really surprised if they sign him soon. I'd be pleasantly surprised if they sign him soon, because if you told me that they could find a middle ground that seemed fair to both sides and that was palatable to the salary cap, I'd say, thank you, God, let's go forward. Because Dak Prescott is really good. Is he as great as Troy Aikman was? No, he's not. Is he as great as Mahomes appears to be on path to be? No. Is he Deshaun Watson? Not quite.
But I think the thing is, Skip, quarterbacks, you judge quarterbacks differently, because if you just base quarterbacks on are they good or are they going to be like this historically great, there wouldn't be a whole lot of them making any money.
So what do we know up to this point? We know that Jerry Jones and Dak Prescott's representative got crossways. And when you get crossways with Jerry Jones in a negotiation, it can be over. That man has the biggest negotiating pride I have ever encountered. If you cross him, if you do him dirty, do him wrong, he won't get over it. He'll just get even. And right now, getting even is dumping it, pushing him out the door as soon as you have a viable option. Well, as Troy also said, never truer words have been spoken, they're not going to get very far without a franchise quarterback. Well, they're not. So does Jerry have an ace up his sleeve? Because I don't know what the ace is. And don't tell me it's trading up in the draft to get Zach Wilson or Justin Fields, because they're not Dak Prescott. Again, from what I've seen, I've just named two, but from what I've seen, I'll go with Dak. He's much more proven commodity than they are. I love Dak Prescott, but as I told you yesterday, I love my Cowboys more. I don't want to see the cap get wrecked. And now Jerry Jones' pride is sideways. And he's also being validated by the fact that Carson Wentz is about to cost the Philadelphia Eagles $34 million in dead cap money because they are on the precipice of trading him. We're going to talk about it in just a minute.
Yep.
Jared Goff already got traded, and that cost the Rams $22 million in dead cap money. What do you think Jerry's saying? He's sitting back with his arm folded saying, I told you so.
But guess what has happened also in the years that Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, both of those teams have played in the Super Bowl, one of them won.
Yep.
And what have the Cowboys done?
Okay. But again, the Carson Wentz one was because of Nick Foles, not because of Carson Wentz.
Well, I don't believe had Nick Foles started the entire season, we've seen what Nick Foles has done. Nick Foles is a great relief pitcher, but when you ask him to start the game, he's not the same guy. That's why he's in position. He's about to be traded back to Philly if it's the Chicago deal.
He probably so. But we watched him start 2 playoff games and then a Super Bowl and play the greatest quarterback we'd ever seen. Okay, so that's beyond a relief pitcher to me. But we'll save all that for the Carson Wentz discussion. Okay. So Jerry also is stung by the fact that he did overpay starting with Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke just wasn't Zeke last year. So how do you think that makes Jerry feel about Dak? They probably should be an apple-orange situation, but it's not. To Jerry's saying, man, I overpaid. I overpaid for DeMarcus Lawrence, for Jalen Smith.
Well, Skip, you can't be in a situation where you overpay for a house and then try to take it out on the guy that's trying to sell you the car. What the hell that got to do with me?
Okay, well, the house is way more important than the car.
What Dak says, like, you need to go ahead and pay me. I'm the house.
Okay, so now we get to the ultimate X factor here, and that is everybody who pounds their table and says, pay the man, pay him what? That's what I need to know. That is the unreported X factor. I don't know what that is. What are they demanding? What are they saying? Bottom line, we will not flinch unless you pay us $42 million a year. And obviously they want 4 versus 5 years, so they'll get free sooner than later.
Yes.
Okay, I got that. So I don't think that's a deal breaker, 4 versus 5. The deal breaker is how much for 4.
Well, you Skip, I believe the least they're coming in is 39. Deshaun Watson, with 2 years left, got $39 million a year. Yep. I don't see how Dak, with no years left on his deal, says I'm taking less than that.
All right. Well, he might want more than Deshaun Watson because he'd say that's the market.
Right.
Are you ready to do that? Because I'm not sure about him, because all I know is what happened 2 seasons back. All I know is what I kept hearing from the Hall of Famer across from me, because Dak got off to a hellacious great start. And Jerry said publicly after the opening game, our deal is imminent. That means they're to the point of signing the dotted line. And what happened? Dak had a hot hand, but it was against the Giants. And then it was at the Redskins. They were then the Redskins, obviously, no more. And then it was Miami coming to Dallas, and they were horrible that year. So it was 3 bad teams, 3 huge stat games, and then impasse. Because clearly the rug got jerked out from under Jerry, and they said, April Fools in September, guess what?
Right.
We want a whole lot more than we originally said we wanted. Jerry doesn't play that game, and once you get the bad blood going on, he's like out.
Right.
Okay? So then what happened?
So how do you get back in, Skip?
Okay, so what did Dak do? If he had kept going boom, 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 boom the rest of that year, if they'd gone to the NFC Championship game, you'd have him. He would have to eat the crow, but they didn't.
I don't believe so.
Okay, but what happened the rest of the year? From that game on, the last 13 games of the year.
They missed the playoffs.
Okay, and guess what? Pro Football Focus graded Dak from that point on, the last 13 games, the 15th best quarterback in football. Right. Well, you gave him, in the last 13 games, you gave him 7 Fs for his performances because I'm with you, they weren't very good.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. Do you believe in your heart that Jerry Jones thinks Dak Prescott is better than Tony Romo, is a better quarterback than Tony Romo?
Then why would you throw Tony into the mix?
Because they put everything they could. They gave Tony Romo everything he had. They gave him T.O., they gave him top receivers, they got Jason Witten in his prime, that offensive line, a great running back, and they made him the highest paid quarterback at the time without blinking an eye.
Yep.
Dak Prescott is...
Here's what I do believe. I believe 2 years ago, he definitely thought he was better than Tony Romo. I think he's starting to have his doubts because Dak didn't get off to a great start this year. I know he put up some numbers, but as you said, there were a lot of empty calorie numbers in the comeback against Atlanta, for instance. And remember that they played pretty well. He played pretty well against the Rams in the opener, but they lost. So my point is that he used to think that. Now I think he has some second thought about it.
I don't believe he ever thought that. That's why he was willing to do everything he possibly could to get Romo back in there Dak's rookie year, and it was Jason Garrett that fought tooth and nails, and maybe Stephen Jones that said, Dad, you can't do this.
Stephen, because remember the turning point was that game in Pittsburgh where even Tony Romo stood up the next Tuesday and said, I give up. I'm done. Right? He conceded to Dak.
But that he conceded, but the owner was still trying to overthrow the election.
But that's because the owner loved him like a son, loved Tony, and that he and Dak have never gotten close because, to Dak's credit, I think he stiff-armed him. And that's a good thing because Dak is clearly the leader of the locker room and the face of the franchise. But is he worth $40+ million? I'm not sure about that. That scares me because what if he can't live up to it?
But what if he so in other words, give him $35 million, he taking us 2 Super Bowls, he's underpaid. Jerry gonna redo the deal? Hell no.
No.
Okay then. So a contract's a contract.
Okay. Are you sure he's gonna? If you can guarantee me right now that he's gonna take you to 2 Super Bowls,
ain't no guarantee.
I'm good. You pay him 50.
Skip, you know there's no guarantees when it comes to football.
Well, I know you well enough to know